I'm Guillermo Diaz, and you're watching Outlook Video.
Over the past decade, much progress has been made in the ongoing fight for LGBTQ inclusion, access, and justice. However, there is still much work to be done, especially when we see the increased levels of hostile rhetoric, discriminatory policies, and violence perpetrated at the most vulnerable in our community. The Equality March for Unity and Pride in San Jose, along with sister events across the country, will give voice to the real concerns of the LGBTQ community as well as our community as a whole. The march is a starting point for providing support and bringing attention to those who are targeted due to immigration status, ethnicity, religious choice, skin color, gender, sexual orientation, and disability. My guest is one of the organizers for the Equality March San Jose, Bryan Aubineau. Hi, Bryan. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. So why don't you start by telling me, who are the national people behind this and who are the local organizations behind this?
So from a national level, there's an organization called Resource Impact that's one of the primary financial backers of this event, as well as the main organization that's helping bring us together. From the local scale for San Jose metropolitan area, it's Project More Foundation, which is the organization that I work for. Santa Clara County Office of LGBTQ Affairs, and Silicon Valley Pride.
So what is the mission that you guys have? I mean, I know what the goal, the idea of the march is, but what's the mission behind the project overall?
The mission is to bring everyone together, allies and the LGBTQ plus community, in a sort of into march for solidarity and unity and pride, just in general, to defend that inclusion and really to foster and ensure that we keep our unalienable human rights.
Fantastic. And so you talk about the community, but who's the march for? Is it for just the LGBT community, or is it for more people?
I would say it's for more. I'd say it's an event that we are hoping that bring and we're supporting of families, of whether they're LGBT or those that are allies and supporters. We really want to show that it's not just an LGBT initiative that we're fighting for as something particular to us, but that all this trickles down and affects society as a whole, especially any other minority and left out groups.
Fantastic. So I know the event's being held in June, which is also Pride Month.
That's right.
So how is this event, this Equality March and Rally, different than a Pride event?
Well, first main difference you'll notice is there's no grandstand, there's no floats, it's not necessarily a moment to take in and celebrate, but it's a moment to defend and stand for what we believe in. That's really the key difference. Sort of general march and rally, keeping up those chants, just similar to what we've seen maybe with the Women's March, but for the slightly different objective.
Fantastic. So how can people get involved? Because I'm sure this is a big undertaking, so I'm sure you need volunteers and you need donations and all that. So how can people get involved if they're interested in participating both in the march and helping out in some other way?
Well, there's two easy ways to get involved. One is simply by registering to march. That is a good way that we can bring and represent the amount of support that we have at a local level to the national scale. But also you can share this on the messaging that we're going to be sharing on equalitymarchsj.org through social media, Facebook. We have a Facebook event page with the same name. You can donate money. We're a grassroots organization with a steering committee. We each are contributing a certain amount of money, but really that individual level, it's not a corporate sponsorship event. And we also are seeking plenty of volunteers to, from logistics to stage management to litter control and de-escalation.
Fantastic. So I know that the event is taking place on June 11th, and it starts at what time?
It starts at 11 with the pre-rally at San Jose City Hall.
Okay, and so then the march will start there roughly around
11:45 to noon.
Okay, and then the march goes to?
Plaza de Cesar Chavez in downtown San Jose.
Outstanding. And so that rally is scheduled to start around
1
o'clock. Okay. And so people should bring stuff to drink and take care of themselves?
Yes.
Or will you have vendors there at the event as well?
We are looking to also have some food carts and some vendors. We'll have community engagement tables that they might be hopefully handing out water and stuff along the way. But we do encourage people to bring water, maybe bring a lunch. It will be a 4-hour period between starting and ending, possibly a little longer. I think we have booked for 11 to 4, but we'll see how the agenda goes.
Great.
Yeah.
So it sounds like it's going to be a great day. It's in June. It'll be great weather because the weather's always great here in June.
Yes.
And I hope lots of people come out and join. And I want to thank you for coming in and talking to me, Bryan. And we will now send it back to this studio.
Thank you.
All right? All right. So if you'd like to be involved, we'll have information around the march at the end of the program. And we encourage you to come out and support the Equality March and Unity and Pride event in San Jose on June 11th. Thank you. And back to the studio.
We love to get mail from you. Email us at comments@outlookvideo.org.
To contact us by phone, call 408-293-3040, extension 205.
Visit our website at outlookvideo.org.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/outlookvideo.
And connect with us at facebook.com/outlookvideo.
There's an old saying that you should never meet your heroes. They might disappoint you. But I got to meet Howard Cruse, and he turned out to be a complete sweetheart. So let me tell you the story, but it bounces around a lot, so just hold on tight. Howard Cruse is a brilliant, groundbreaking gay cartoonist. During the 1980s, he wrote Wendell, which ran in the back of the Advocate. It was a funny, smart, insightful, sexy comic strip about the gays next door. And it had quite an impact on me in my early coming out years. After that, he wrote the fantastic award-winning graphic novel Stuck Rubber Baby, about a man dealing with social change and his own homosexuality during the civil rights movement in the South. If you haven't read it, well, just go buy it on Amazon. You'll love it, and Howard can use the cash. In 1987, there was a March on Washington for gay rights. My partner Kim and I, he's my husband now, were waffling about whether or not to go. Then we read a Wendell comic strip about a bunch of people on the bus to the march. It ran in the Advocate 2 weeks before the march, and it was very powerful. We read it and said, we have to go and be a part of this history. The March on Washington was an amazing experience and influenced my decision to become an activist. It was also the first time I saw the Names Project quilt. It changed my life. So in a way, Howard Cruse and Wendell also changed my life. Thanks, Howard. And thanks, Wendell. About 10 years later, Kim got me the original artwork of that March on Washington comic strip as a Christmas present. Kim doesn't know much about comics or cartoons, but he's really good at picking gifts. It's framed on our bedroom wall, a prized possession. Now, I love this original artwork, but of course it's been duplicated thousands of times in the Wendell book collections. But we got something else too. On the outside of the cardboard he shipped it in, Howard drew a little picture of Santa Claus wearing ruby slippers and wishing us a Merry Christmas. That's framed on our wall too, and I always think of it as just ours. A generous present from Howard Cruse, who we never even met. But then just the other day, I was at a conference in San Francisco on queers in comics, and he was one of the guests. And I'll mention that I'm old-fashioned and maybe not as comfortable with the word queer as everybody else in the world, but I'm working on it. And the conference was fabulous. It was run by a friend of mine named Justin Hall, who does great work, and I got to meet all sorts of great people, including Howard Cruse. I told Howard what a big fan I was, and then I told him the whole story I just told you, so lucky him, I guess. We chatted for a while. Howard and I are gay men of a certain age, so there's a lot of overlap in our experiences. He made me feel very comfortable. Then I asked him to autograph one of his comics for me because, well, that's what you do. So why am I telling you this long, shaggy dog story? instead of doing another angry editorial about the orange idiot in the Oval Office? Other than the fact that it makes me smile. Well, it's important to remember that LGBT people have a history. These are dark times. The country seems caught up in a tornado of anger and fear. The LGBT community is one of the targets of that. But we've been through dark times before. When Howard Cruse was writing Wendell, gay men were dying in droves from a disease we did not understand, that there was no treatment for. We didn't have LGBT civil rights in any state. Most people, gay or otherwise, just assumed the closet was where we belonged. And same-sex marriage, it was the punchline of jokes. But we are a resilient people. We resisted. We came out. We marched and protested and yelled when we had to. And we made change happen. And you know what? We're not going back. And if these are dark times, we will resist and we will fight some more. We know how. Howard Cruse is a quiet and low-key man, but he risked his career to be an openly gay cartoonist in the 1980s. He wrote about LGBT subjects in a moving and compelling way when it wasn't trendy and it wasn't easy. I guarantee his stories changed people's lives, not just mine. He was the kind of person we needed then, and he's the kind of person we need now. There are a lot of ways to fight back. You can write, or carry a sign, or start a court case. And we can look to the people who do those things for inspiration. So I met one of my heroes, and he turned out to be a decent, friendly guy who treated me with great kindness. And after all these years, he is still doing wonderful creative work, and he's still fighting the good fight. He's an inspiration to me. And I got an autograph out of it, too.